Hello my peeps, Tracey here, friendly neighborhood paper pusher, and I am bringing you our Mission Monday reveal. I showed you on Tuesday with Tracey, we did this first card, and I showed you how to make it. It is the window buckle card, which I got from Heidi Collins, whose Instagram handle is Stampin Heidi, and I think her Facebook she's On You Go Crafting or On You Go Stamping. So that was the window buckle card, which is just such a cool little fold. Oops, I zoomed in. I zoomed in too far. So this is the one we made on the video. And this was the one I had made ahead of time. And the main difference between these two cards, which I will point out, is this one I made as per, I really don't remember what suites Heidi used, but using the same, like DSP here and DSP on the little belt, I guess if we want to call this the buckle, this is the belt. So I did try, this one was made with just cardstock. I didn't have a DSP in this pack that had the color I wanted. So it's just cardstock. And again, you could put something on the inside here if you wanted to, but I think it's pretty cool. And then during the video, I showed you this one, which was just the way my brain works. Sorry, I need to keep some of these cards out. I just realized. There we go. If one way works, you got to try another way, right? So this one was a much thinner strip of cardstock and a different shape. This was the Nested Essentials dies. Love the way that looks. Oh my goodness, you guys. This one turned out so well. I love how this turned out. I did try to make the bigger sailboat, but it doesn't cut like an actual sailboat size. There's little notches that come in, so it's a very detailed die. So it just did not want to go together, fitting back and forth. So this one I have cardstock on the front instead of DSP, just to show you an example. And instead of using just regular cardstock, I actually embossed this. And I was wondering if embossing would make it too soft and it wouldn't work, like it would be too flimsy. But this works just fine. And I cleverly stamped the birds on the inside. I was very proud of myself. So there's still lots of room to write, but I always like to stamp on the inside. And I made it so that if this flaps shut, it works just perfect. So yeah, this one, I did, you'll see when we do the alternate, you'll see I have different things. But and I did have this is just like the slightest bit over, but it works just fine. Like this is not in the way just based on where this is, I think. So yeah, I have a blue layer, Night of Navy layer. Then I have a balmy blue layer. And then I just cut a totally separate circle out of, sorry, all of a sudden I have the hiccups, out of Daffodil Delight because I wanted it to look like sunset, sunrise, one of the suns. So, oh, you guys, I love how that card turned out. This one I'm undecided about. I'm going to move these out of the way. So, I wanted to try a different shape, right? And so I wanted to do another one that went this way and do a slightly different shape. But I had this idea in my head. If I left the little belt, instead of sticking it out, could I make sort of a different bit of a fold? So I love this. This is a Sunshine Vibes dies, which are part of the Boho Vibes suite. So I made it, and I said something about accidentally making a card upside down the one time. Well, this time I purposely made it, so the card is kind of upside down, right? And I did have to put this little I was going to put the happy birthday lower, because you can kind of see a little bit of the sailboat here, because when I was trying to cleverly emboss all these clouds around there without getting any sailboat in the middle. But because this little piece here is part of the way the die cuts goes up, this part kept getting caught. So I bridged my happy birthday sentiment holding the two together. And yes, I know, I'm going to show you a couple retired things. This is from the One More Year, and I love this happy birthday sentiment way too much to ever part with. Okay, so here's what I thought was the cool part, though. When you open this up, it turns out that your card, I'll have to turn it in a minute, it stands on the desk. So when you see it standing on the desk, it looks like this, right? So it can stand up. So I thought this was like, oh, I'm so clever. Look at me go. I had to cut this paper twice because the first time I cut it, I cut it on the wrong side. So this die is not exactly the same on the bottom, so it would not fit. So I had to cut a second one. And I wanted this so that when you put this down, like you have the sky behind it. I almost needed the sky on this one instead, but if I put it on here, there was nowhere to write. It's got this kind of big hole in it. So I like the card, but I'm undecided if I really like the card. when you see the pictures, you'll be able to see it like from the front a little bit better. But it does close up. And it was so I basically just modified this a little bit and got my little happy birthday, which, like I said, there's little clouds on it and stuff. Okay, so those were the cards. And then I had lots of fun. Just when I gotta zoom out a little bit. We're zoomed in too much right now. There we go. So these are the cards I made, right? So then, because I did this, right, like each one of these ones had something cut out of them, well, I have to make something with the cutouts. So this is the card I made. This was the cutout from here, plus the piece of DSP that I cut the wrong size. So I had a piece of DSP left over. And then I just embossed, and I used the turtle embossing because there's a bit of a pattern on here. They're not exactly the same, but this little turtly cute embossing folder, I just love the texture on it. And I just wanted some texture. Didn't matter what it was. And then this is from the Impressions dies, which match. So that was the alternate I made on this card. And then, because I made this one, I thought, you know, instead of putting an embossed background, I'm gonna stamp flowers for the background. But when I stamped the flowers and then I put the circle that I cut out from here on top of it, it was too much. So I ended up just, again, I had little scraps. These were, nope, this was a 12 by 12 sheet, but I always end up with little scraps of DSP. So in this case, I just sort of gave my little mini fence effect that I like. I just cut a chunk into some little strips that I put on the background. So the only thing really was these leftover DSP, but it was because I was, this is inspired. This is like a sketch challenge. You start somewhere and off your brain goes. So I think these all still came from the same mystery card, even though all of these look kind of different. So this is what I did, right? I'm like, I'll make this one with stamping. It did not work. So then I made it again because I still had this piece left over and I still had some leftover DSP. I love the colors. I love the way this turned out. So this is just the corrugated background. And we just did that. And these little white flowers, which are so adorable and meant to mimic the little white flowers that show up a lot in this chunk of DSP, are from the soon-to-be-released Christmas set, Peace on Earth, I think the suite is called. And these are the hues of blue flower. And 3 of them are blue, and 1 of them is white. And I just happened to use the white ones. So that one got 2 cards out of the thing because one was kind of inspired by the other one. And then this card, we ended up with, I have envelopes behind them because I do the envelopes, I do the insides. This sentiment is from the So Sincere stamp set, and I love a good vertical, and this is like the perfect size, it's the perfect font, so I won't be parting with this one. So yes, I apologize for throwing it a little retired. This is the Impressions again that goes with this. So yeah, this is just the chunk out of the middle, and I just a little bit of stamping on the back instead of embossing or DSP. And there is an extra layer here, which I did because, one, I like layers, and it just gives kind of, even if it's white on white, it does give it kind of an edge. But it's also so if I screw up on the stamping, because I'm just like winging it, I have no idea what I'm doing when I start, I can always flip it over and I don't waste an entire card base. Because hey, you never know. Sometimes I have a good idea and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So this one, I told you when I cut it, I had to cut the yellow. So as I'm cutting this, I cut the first piece and these 2 layers came out. And I didn't have this glued together yet because after I cut it, I then embossed the balmy blue layer. But I had the 2 pieces and I threw them off to the side where I was stacking up my pieces. And then I cut the yellow circle because I wanted it, and I threw it on top. And when I saw these 3 colors together, I was like, ooh, I like that. So I cut an extra yellow circle, and then I made this card. So this is like the 2 that were cut out from the card. This is the extra one I made. And then I actually already had one of these stamped and cut. And this is, I don't remember, swirly circles or, I don't know, but it's a bubbly circle die. So this is just a whole lot of circles and balloons. And anyway, so that was the card that came from that one. Nothing looks the same, right? Everything's just off. I went on a tangent. And then this one, I loved the rainbow so much. And I had the piece of DSP from here. I still have the white rainbow from here, but I ran out of time. But the DSP that came from inside here, I had this blue cutout rainbow. So I cut myself a second set of these because I love them so much. And this started out as a full-size card, and if I had wanted to put a bigger sentiment, I could have just used like this little square of embossed. I always forget, I love this embossing folder, and I always forget what it's called. But anyways, after I did it, I decided that instead of making a regular size card, I would just cut this down to 4¼ by 4¼ which I could still just pop in an envelope and mail. It doesn't matter that I didn't make it the full size, but I just love this so much. And so when this is like sitting tented on your desk, you'll just have this happy little rainbow that says happy birthday. Oh, I think that's okay. This is Attention Shoppers, which is either in the last chance or has sold out. I think it might still be in the last chance, but I love this little sentiment. So these are the clouds that I had cut, that I had left over from when I was making the sailboat card. I cut a bunch of them while I was cutting, and then only used one of them. So these ones were just left over from that, added to there, and it made this adorable little card. So when I said I was having fun with this, and that I was already up to like card number 6 or something when I posted the link to the replay, yeah, really enjoyed myself with this one, as I always do. And you're not supposed to have, it's like kids. It's a good thing I only had one kid, because he's my favorite. Because you're not supposed to pick favorites, but I have a favorite card, and I will admit, my favorite card, oh, I just love the way that one turned out. So anyways, yeah, there you go. There's your mystery card and all of the stuff that went with it. I will post a link to a photo of these, a link to the Pinterest board that shows a better picture of each one of them and the insides, and it'll have the link to the video as well, to this video, so you can cross-reference whichever way you start. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and join me again Monday for another mission. Thanks. Bye.